Alright guys, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about infidelity being married in the Philippines, or being with a married woman, or being a foreigner married and cheating. Just how dangerous is it? Stick around. Alright, so making the headlines again, we have a story of a foreigner, a British foreigner, and a Filipina mistress arrested in Moabol, Cebu. That's South Cebu. Basically, the foreigner's Filipino wife found out about them cheating and reported it, and guess what? They both were arrested. So people ask all the time, is it really dangerous? You know, what if I dated a married woman? What if, what if I am a foreigner and I did cheat? Is it really that dangerous? Well, guess what? You certainly can be arrested, as you can see from this story here. And I'm not going to show names or anything or faces, but I do want to just show you an example. And I see this in the news quite often. So I also hear a lot of foreigners. You would be surprised at how many are just in open relationships with married Filipinas. Now, I get that the heart wants what the heart wants. And it may be tempting, but I still don't fully understand why you would go after a woman who's married. Now, a whole separate conversation is how fair is it and how expensive it is and how realistic it is for a woman who's in a horrible marriage, who's left that marriage maybe for many years and is now living separately. You know, how fair is it for her not to be able to get divorced from this maybe abusive guy, or a guy who's been unfaithful, maybe a guy who left her and is now living with a family of his own? How fair is that, it takes a lot of money to get annulment? Is it a fair thing? No. Supposedly the divorce has been passed in the Philippines. It's still waiting for the final vote. I don't know all the details on it. Whether that goes through at some point or not, or it gets vetoed, I don't know. I really don't know. But I know it's been in the works for a long time. It's been talked about the entire time that I've been here in the Philippines, which is now going on 7 years. So will it ever become a reality? It may not even happen in my lifetime. Who knows? An annulment is typically for the rich only, and there's no guarantee. I know that you have two shots at it. So if you have money, typically you can make it happen. Money absolutely talks in the Philippines. And for the average person, they don't have an extra 250,000 pesos to spend on getting an annulment. Basically, what they usually do, like two Filipinos, is the guy goes off to another island, maybe lives with another woman, has a family there, and maybe she goes off, and they end up being very quiet on social media. They're not the type that not advertising their pictures of their relationship, and they just keep everything on the down low. That seems to be the norm here. But for a foreigner, I do believe you have a bit more of a target on your head. Now, I've talked about this before, and it was an interesting discussion down below. Now, for this foreigner in jail in Moabol, I don't know how serious it is. It's serious enough that you had to be registered and humiliated, going to jail over it, So that's serious enough. Whether you're only there for a night or 2 nights, and maybe it's only a 10,000 peso fine, I really don't know. I don't know the situation. It doesn't give a lot of details, but I don't want to be in that situation. I certainly don't, and I don't want to have to spend the money to get out of it. So the best advice there's different aspects of this that we'll talk about, but first aspect, don't involve yourself with a married woman. Just don't. There's plenty of women who aren't married here that you can go after. Now, if a woman is lying to you, there's not much that you can do other than that. If you have any suspicions whatsoever, maybe she doesn't want to advertise your relationship on social media, which has always been a bit of a red flag for me anyway. maybe you've been together 6 months now and she still doesn't want to post any photos of you guys together. That is a red flag for me. Could be that she's married and she's trying to hide something. Maybe she's in a relationship secretly. Or maybe she's embarrassed of you. She doesn't want her family to know I'm with an older foreigner. Again, this is a whole sidebar conversation by itself, but that could be a warning factor. Have you seen her with, in pictures on her Facebook with her and some kids? And maybe it looks a bit suspicious, and maybe she tells you, oh, those are my sister's kids. So the way around this is request a Cenomar. Now you can just Google, receive a Cenomar online. And Cenomar, I'll spell it out down below here, but it's CENOMAR. It's an acronym for, I believe, Certificate of Eligibility of No Marriage, something like that. I'll put it down below. And like Maya did one, as you know, we're planning on getting married here in the near future, and it only took, I think, 5 days to have it delivered, and I think it was only around 300 pesos or so. So if your girl has a problem with getting one of those, even if you offer, hey, I'll pay the 300 pesos, we'll order it, it'll come right to the house, you don't really need to do a whole lot. And if she is hesitant about that, well, that's a big red flag there as well. But if you're going to get into a serious relationship, and if you have any doubts whatsoever, definitely request a Cenomar. Again, all you have to do is Google Cenomar, receive Cenomar online, and you will find the website where you can just order it online. Very easy to do. Took about 5 days to get it. Now, the other situation is if you're a foreigner and you get married here. Now, if you get married here and you decide the marriage is not for you, guess what? Take care of, have the marriage dissolved before you start going around cheating, because she could certainly, like in this situation, you could get in trouble and you could end up in jail. Again, I don't know how serious. Maybe it's just a night, maybe it's just 2 nights, maybe it's just a 10,000 fine, maybe it's a 50,000 fine. I don't know. It's just, I suppose every case is going to be different. You being a foreigner, maybe they see some dollar signs and it might be more. You never know. There's always the skin tax, right? So I don't think most people, even for a night, want to be in a Philippines jail, and nobody wants to be advertised on the news like this poor guy, even though his face is blurred out and his name's not shown. People know who it is. It's a small, the Philippines is big, but it's also very small, and news gets around very quickly. Gossip is king here in the Philippines. So if you're going to do it, now I can tell you about the United States. You can go back to the United States and file for divorce. And once you're divorced, come back here and file for recognition of divorce, and the Philippines will recognize it. So you can get divorced, contrary to belief that once you're married, you're stuck being married. That's not true if you're a foreigner. Now, every country is going to have different laws and different requirements. Even different states in the U.S. are going to have different requirements for how long you have to be there. Do you have to be considered a resident? If you haven't lived in the U.S. for 10 years and you come home for a week to get divorced, I don't know if you can do it. You may have to show some residency. So you'll have to check into that through an attorney or something. But again, the best bet is simply don't get involved with a married Filipino, unless you're going to spend a lot of money and kind of hands off until things go through, and that could be several years. Or if you're going to get married here in the Philippines and things don't work out, take care of your business, get it annulled, go back to your home country, get divorced, then come back here, or go to Thailand or Vietnam or Malaysia or Cambodia or wherever, and have your fun. But don't cheat in the Philippines. It's just not worth it, as you can see. And I see these stories all the time. This is not like the first story that I've seen, like, oh, wow, I can't believe it. No, I see this all the time. And they advertise it in the online, in the papers, the Sunstar, Cebu. I've seen it in the Dumaguete News. I see it And they'll, you know, like somebody who cheats in the island of Mindanao, especially if it's a foreigner and they get arrested, guess what? It's all over the Philippines. They know about it. So I would like to hear your questions and comments about this, guys. Check out my website for a lot more information, a free monthly newsletter. Check out my Geo Travel Essentials, where you can get all the things I highly recommend for moving or traveling out here in the Philippines. And if you want to support my channel, check out my patreon.com/Geo in the Philippines, where I have 80 additional videos, plus much more benefits and constant contact with me. Thank you so much, and I'll see everyone next time. Bye.